Greetings, beautiful ones. It's Casey Goldstraw-Gergini with a full moon in Sagittarius and pre-June Solstice energy update. And if that sounds like a mouthful, it really is. And so are these energies. They are so incredibly magical, powerful, and full of magnetic charm is how I would describe the energies that I am feeling in the lead up to the June 11 full moon in Sagittarius. And it really is a time of multiple magical activations. And with that in mind, there's a reminder to really pay attention to where you are placing your energy, because this full moon, this strawberry full moon, has so much energy of positive magnetic transformation and sweetness. Taking your energy back and being conscious of where you are placing your energy is really pivotal and important, because there's so much incredible inflow and restoration of energy happening. And in fact, what my guides have been calling this time is a restoration of magical ancestral lineages. So those blood lineages where perhaps you had psychic family members who repressed or suppressed their gifts and wisdom are now really being brought to the surface at a higher level for you to integrate. There's also an incredible activation of our magical roots, and in particular of our elemental or fairy magic lineages. Again, that may have been buried for one reason or another. And then there's also a return of your wisdom keeper knowledge. And in a lot of cases, this is for crystal keepers, perhaps in Druid times or Atlantean or Lemurian times, when there was persecution arising and those crystals or that wisdom was really taken and made secret and held in the deep vaults of our ancestral and akashic spaces and places. And that was what I was seeing for me, was there was a powerful memory emerging of when I hid a particular crystal in Druid times to protect it from an onslaught of persecution. And so that may be emerging for you. This energy in Sagittarius is just so magical. So you may experience one of these things. So again, your ancestral lineage magic being presented to you, or your magical roots really taking new shape and presenting in the present, or an activation of your incredible elemental fairy magic, or again, this emergence of deep, soulful wisdom from a previous incarnation that may have been hidden to you, that may have been restricted by you until the time was right. And so, wow, oh my goodness, the time is right now. This is what I'm getting. This energy in Sagittarius is absolutely incredible. And we have Archangels Metatron and Raziel with us to support us. They both work with the Akashic records. They both support us to reclaim our magic, to access the highest reservoir and levels of our wisdom, and to integrate these psychic and spiritual and magical gifts that may have been hidden in our family lineages, or just kept at the edges of our conscious awareness for one reason or another, often from a place of fear, disconnect, or sense of self-rejection. And so that really is a big theme, is really healing self-rejection and accepting all of these wonderful magical layers of you is really important and pivotal at this time. But Sagittariuses they're so magical. And tell me if this resonates if you are a Sagittarius or you have one in your life. And again, I am not an astrologer, so please take what resonates. I'm an angel intuitive, but I do get pulled to sometimes talk about different very seismic and pivotal astrological celestial occurrences, and my attention's really drawn to these wonderful Sagittariuses, these Sages in our lives. But Sages are magical, they are independent, maybe sometimes a little bit willful. They definitely do their own thing, and they're very intuitive. they tend to stay in their own lane, but they're also the most incredible, powerful activators. And they love to be expansive, and they are so connected to nature and the elemental realms. And so in this way can really activate others to tune into their own unique magic and gifts, and the magic of what has been repressed and suppressed, and also connecting us to dreams. They really are dream journeyers, astral travelers, sometimes time travelers, but they have this wonderful capacity to weave the magic into our lives and into their own lives in very authentic and transformative and powerful ways. So they really are these transformers who are often holding frequency, sometimes completely unaware. And so I think today we'll call in that ancestral magic and wisdom keeper activation energy to be with us. But in my own case, my father is a Sagittarius, and he is very magical. Also, in so many ways, not really tuned in to that magic. And I can remember a time when I really became aware of this years and years ago. I want to say almost like over 20 years ago, before I was even really on my own lightworker path. And he was staying in my house. He was sleeping overnight in my basement, in my family room. And he would come and visit my son, who was very young at the time, and they would have the most wonderful adventures playing together. And I always, found, especially in hindsight, I see how my dad is so connected to the fairy and elemental realms. But in this particular case, one morning after staying with us, he got up, he packed his stuff, and he said, "I'm leaving." And he just left. He left the house, and I had no idea why. He had plans to play with my son, and I was quite dismayed at his exit. And then a few hours later, my mom called, and she said, "Well, your father says he's never coming back to stay at your house. He's never spending the night at your house again." And I said, "Oh my gosh, why? Like, what happened?" And she said, there was a dead person in your basement. And he just, basically matter-of-factly said there was, some kind of spirit down there who scared the ever-loving beep out of him. And he was never coming back to stay. And I was quite shocked at the time, needless to say, because I wasn't aware of this. As it happens, he turned out to be quite right. And and it turned out we were actually living on a burial ground. And so there were some spirits and some deep clearing that needed to happen and healing of the land. And, eventually, we did move over time and felt much better after we moved. So it turned out he was quite accurate. And we never really talked about it after that. So, of course, my father, as it turned out, was rather clairvoyant. And now, of course, I'm a clairvoyant. And so this is one of the ways that I experienced my own family lineage and received that gift of of clairvoyance. And also went on it was kind of a catalytic experience for going on a very powerful journey. But to this day, my dad and I don't really discuss these things. So that's an example of a repressed gift that Sages can often provide. And when I say repressed, so repressed is when it's really deeply buried and we're not actually aware that we're blocking it. And then sometimes it just sort of comes to the forefront when we most need it. And then suppressed is when we really make a conscious choice to really tuck that away. So a lot of family secrets are suppressed. And then at a certain point, of course, they may become repressed, where when we stop talking about it over a period of time, it just really becomes this weight that is deeply locked away that we're not kind of aware of whatsoever. So those are two different things that can happen that are really kind of coming up to heal as a result of this powerful full moon activation, which is really tremendously positive. And then the other story about how this Sagittarius energy is so powerful with the June 11 full moon is there's this activation of and restoration of your ancestral lineages. So I experienced that connection with my dad, but there's also a paternal grandmother and great aunt in my family who have psychic gifts, who I don't believe ever really used them, but who have since crossed over and show up from time to time in sessions and in my readings. And I've never really connected with them, but people have always said, other lightworkers have said, you know, you have this grandmother and aunt with very powerful psychic gifts. And so, of course, again, this was never spoken about in my family. I haven't ever received much conscious information about it, but these two souls are coming forward to restore the psychic lineage. And so that's something that I'm personally experiencing. Let me know if that resonates with you. But there's this powerful restoration of these magical ancestral lineages, and in particular of psychic gifts that may have been dismissed or buried or even rejected. Because at this time, this would have been, around, the end of World War II and kind of beyond, into the 50s and 60s, in a small coal mining town in England, when this wouldn't have been readily accepted. It wouldn't have been considered a positive quality and may have been blocked, discouraged, and rejected by family members, and certainly over time repressed. So this is really coming to light in my own family and in my own blood lineage powerfully. And so you may notice this happening with you, especially in the dream state. So Sagittarius or Sages are very connected to dreams and astral travelers. They are journeyers. And so this quality in ourselves is really being activated at this time as well. And so you may notice particular psychic gifts or healing gifts. In a lot of cases, that is what I'm seeing in my clients and students, is that these repressed healing gifts that may go back multi-generations, all the way back maybe even into 7 generations and beyond, are coming forward. So be open to how these gifts present, and know that they're also coming forward to be upgraded, to be integrated, and to be utilized at a higher level, really supporting you on your path and purpose. So it's like this activation of this powerful ancestral lightworker lineage that I'm seeing right now, which is absolutely magical. And then the crystal keeper knowledge that I referred to, I'm seeing as an activation of our past life or future lifetime lineages of when we were forced to repress, when we were forced to hide certain wisdom, gifts, magic, to protect that. And that is being open to us now if you're ready and willing and able. So these are some of the themes that I'm seeing that are presenting, and to encourage us, to empower us moving forward, integrating these pieces and parts of ourselves, especially the magical parts and our magical lineages that may be emerging. There's a message to stop trying to change yourself to please others. I love that about the Sages in my life. They're unique and they don't really feel that need to fall all over themselves pleasing others. As case in point, when my dad discovered the spirit, when he was awoken very unceremoniously by the spirit in my basement, he made that clear decision to set a boundary to leave. Of course, he came back for family events and daytime visits, but he never did. He never did spend the night in that house again, which was him really honoring himself and his own experience. And I do love that about the Sages that I meet. So there's a message to stop trying to change yourself to please others. And sometimes what I have noticed is there's a bit of an obsession to change ourselves in the spiritual community. We call it working on ourselves. And if that's the case, that's great. And we work on our shadows. But again, there's a little bit of an obsession with sometimes changing ourselves. And sometimes we're saying we're working on ourselves, but it really is we're trying to change ourselves to please others. Really, sometimes we're rejecting these powerful, unique, and transformative parts of ourselves, especially our fairy lineages. Love the fairies so much. Our ancestral psychic gifts, and whatever was buried or repressed. And sometimes we take on that fear, the shame, and really block the high positive. We block gifts and wisdom that is being represented to us now in a way that is absolutely transformative. And so really important for us to integrate any parts and pieces of ourselves that we have been rejecting so we can truly step into our authenticity. And I think that that is such a beautiful, positive message about this upcoming full moon, leading us into the incredible frequencies of this solstice. So let's do the ancestral magic activation and reclaim, in particular, our ancestral psychic and elemental gifts, restoring them at a higher level. And let's take one hand to heart and one hand to solar plexus. If you've been thinking about your ancestors, if you have been thinking about dreams or those psychic gifts that you may have been aware of, kind of almost on the periphery of your consciousness, we'll just bring our awareness back to this moment. You can also have your hands face down on your lap or your chair. And let's set that intention to breathe and soften, becoming aware of your high heart chakra as a beautiful point of light that ignites in a flame that begins to gently grow and expand as you unwind, as you relax, and as you become present. And we have Archangel Raziel, the angel of magic and esoteric wisdom, and Metatron on either side of you, with a beautiful unicorn before you, inviting you to gently touch your forehead to the unicorn's horn. So a beautiful activation and clearing of your third eye. Tuning into your inner vision and journeying inwards. And feeling your inner child receiving this infusion of white, of rainbow, of pink, and softest yellow light, dissolving through your third eye and clearing any veils of amnesia, clearing any blocks, preventing you from accessing your ancestral wisdom and gifts, or your soul level wisdom and gifts from previous lifetimes that now serve you, that now align with your highest good, and allowing this to clear. And you may feel a block in the third eye. You may feel it at the back of the third eye or the throat, clearing any repression over your expression as we clear throat, and clearing any blocks at the heart level. In the beautiful inflow of unicorn light, and the unicorn and Metatron and Raziel create a beautiful sacred geometric shape to create a sacred container for you as the light flows into belly, inviting you to take some belly breaths. So inhaling into solar plexus, expanding solar plexus, expanding heart, and then exhaling, igniting that high heart light. Taking a few more expansive breaths like this, and noticing that you completely unwind on the exhalations, that you let go of cords, of any restrictions and any fear-based limitation you've been holding on to. Raziel smiles at you so gently, and he invites you to feel an infusion of beautiful tangerine peach into sacral chakra as Metatron clears your base, and that wonderful golden light from the great central sun pours into your base chakra, flowing into Earth Star chakra, helping you feel grounded in this present. And as we count from 5 to 1, you'll notice a door. And this is a door that you may choose to go through to connect, to activate, and to reclaim any ancestral magic, including psychic gifts, healing gifts, or tools that are coming forward presented to you by your blood ancestors or by past life ancestors in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And seeing that door and inviting it to open. And this is a door that is ready to open because it is positive, because it is healing to you and to your lineage. Opening this door balances giving and receiving, and that feels so good. That feels just right. And as you allow for this door to open, you notice who presents. We invite through a representative of your ancestral magic or your past life magic, past life wisdom, coming forward to you now in 1, in 2, and 3. Seeing this person, this being, this relative, or this guide stepping forward with the gift of your magic and wisdom that is important to you to restore, to reclaim, and to integrate now. Noticing what this being holds. Do they hold a gift, an energy, or a kind of healing for you? Tune in to what they have to say. And feel that gift now being given to you. Absorb and integrate that gift. Notice how it presents. Notice where it flows. And notice as you absorb it, it is deeply healing. It is aligning. Feel your heart fill full. Feel your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual layers receiving deeply. Receive the words and love from this representative, guide, or relative. Perhaps giving them a deep hug, heart to heart. And now feel the healing flowing from you, from Metatron and Raziel, through your lineage, 7 generations back, sending blessings and healing and unconditional love to transform any fear, any deeper shame, and any repression or suppression of gifts, feeling, your relatives receiving and sending this wonderful healing simply by being, simply by allowing. To any past lifetimes, where you were a wisdom keeper, where there was persecution that has repressed the restoration of gifts, now ready to emerge, sending that healing with Metatron and Raziel doing the work, seeing a beautiful rainbow green, bright green light flowing into any of those lifetimes that have presented, perhaps one, perhaps many, receiving and transformed, unlocking and clearing any restrictions in your Akashic records that are ready to clear, that are divinely aligned to clear under the law of one and law of grace. Allowing for the free flow, for the opening and the reclamation of your soul level gifts, of what has been hidden, revealed to you now or in divine time. Feel a reclamation of any of your elemental gifts, of your magical lineages. You may see a fairy, you may see an elemental or a magical creature stepping forward. Be open to this level and restoration. Receiving the love and tuning in to this 3 levels of healing. Allowing for your ancestral psychic lineage to be completely cleared, healed, and balanced across all time, space, and realities, as well as any past lifetime wisdom keeper lifetimes healed, and any elemental magical lifetimes blessed. And honored. Feel yourself receiving this 3 levels of healing. And staying here to absorb the love, to allow your third eye, your crown, your ear chakras, and your throat, heart, solar plexus, and sacral chakra cleared and balanced, allowing you to fully access this new level of your intuitive, psychic, healing, and elemental gifts. Feeling your feet connected to earth as these gifts are woven in to your highest timeline. Encompassing you in layer after layer of love. And returning in 3, 2, 1. Grounded and present as we close the doorway to the past. To your Akashic records. Coming into the present. Being open to new creative and synergistic ways. The restoration of these gifts present to you and through you and all around you. And if you are interested in further exploring your ancestral past life or elemental gifts, you may wish to consider booking a hypnotherapy transformation session with me to continue the journey. Otherwise, enjoy, be open, and be filled with magic here and now. Namaste.